Do you think Marvel Studios could ever recast Kang the Conqueror?
They should have done different versions of Kang in the first goddamn place.
That Quantumania post-credit scene was one of the biggest mistakes, certainly the biggest mistake Marvel Studios made in the multiverse saga. And the fact that Fantastic Four First Steps already established that they fought villains like Mole Man, the Mad Thinker, the Puppet Master, these other kind of like losers, you can't make any of them the villain of the second movie. Maybe what they set up with Latveria is like another Fantastic Four Doom story. But like what's hard is they're gonna be facing Downey's Doom in Doomsday. Welcome back to New Rockstars. If Fantastic Four First Steps gets a sequel in Marvel Studios' distant future, could that be enough time for Marvel Studios to bring back as the villain of that story, Kang the Conqueror? And would Marvel recast at that point? Would nature have healed enough to be ready for that? Well, we'll talk about that in this episode of The Sneak Peek.
Yes, we're going to talk about the future of fandom here at New Rockstars with me, Jessica Clemons, and him, Erik Voss.
Hi, him here. We know that you may be asking us a lot of questions about stuff you learned at New York Comic Con. Well, we don't shoot these on Saturdays and Sundays. We shoot them during normal business hours. So we will be answering those questions about whatever we may have learned about Vision Quest, the Marvel 2026 Disney Plus slate, about Daredevil Born Again. We'll cover all that in the week ahead. Don't worry. This episode, though, we're looking at some questions that came up from many of you this week about the future of the Fantastic Four franchise based off of what we talked about last week. So in our conversation last week where we just kind of looked at this possible 2027 title that Marvel might have removed from its schedule, we then looked at like where Fantastic Four could even go. As of this week, Fantastic Four First Steps has earned $522 million at the global box office and will probably finish its run in the next 2 weeks or so at around $530 million. It did surpass the first Ant-Man movie, whose global total was $519 million. It did not catch 2008 Iron Man's global total, which was $585 million. And really, that number as a 2008 movie probably should be adjusted.
It would have been bigger now.
For inflation, if that movie, like, in 2025 dollars would be probably somewhere in the $700-800 million range. $1 billion, it wasn't that kind of performer back then, but still very high. And then, so in general, if you look at all the movies that have come out from Marvel Studios since Avengers Endgame, Fantastic Four First Steps is in the middle of the pack. It's not as like grim as maybe Quantumania was, or the Marvels, or what, let's see here, Eternals was pretty low, but Eternals is sort of a COVID era release. Even this year, Thunderbolts made in the $300 million range. Captain America Brave New Worlds made somewhere in the $400 million range worldwide. So Fantastic Four First Steps has surpassed both of those. So, but still middle of the road, not even close to $1 billion like many of these other, like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 made it in the $800 million range. Deadpool and Wolverine surpassed $1 billion. And those are titles we looked at when we had to compete with people who would say that Marvel Studios is experiencing fatigue. If Deadpool and Wolverine could make over $1 billion, Marvel fatigue, I believe, has always been kind of an overstated myth. But now it's kind of hard to say that it's a myth when you look at Fantastic Four First Steps. Underperforming. I think we could say it underperformed at the end of the day. So if this movie gets a sequel, it will really depend on how well the characters perform with audiences and focus groups in Avengers Doomsday. And that means, they're not even going to have this in front of test audiences until like mid 2026, like summer 2026. So maybe after the studio can get some cuts of the movie, after some trailers come out, San Diego Comic-Con 2026 would be the earliest we get a confirmation of a sequel. But before we get into the Kang of it all, do you think, after seeing these numbers, Jess, does Marvel Studios give this movie a sequel at all?
I don't know. It's not even about the numbers, because I think they're willing to like try to make it better. I just don't know where they would go. And I don't know if they know where they would go. I think they do want to focus on what's going to be coming next down the pipeline. And if they're still coming out with the other movies that they said they're coming out with, they kind of have to adjust what Fantastic Four is doing. I know that Fantastic Four is in a different universe than our 616, luckily. But I still think they want to be like, we don't want to make people do homework. So, and if they're already doing Black Panther, if there is another Thor, if there is another Doctor Strange, it will be homework for some people to have to watch a sequel to Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's like, where else would they go? That's the most important part.
Yeah, the fact that they're already going to start crossing over into the 616 and the 10005 universe in Avengers Doomsday, that on its own, even though everyone's going to see that movie, every Marvel fan's going to see Doomsday and Secret Wars, for a lot of people, whenever we get to a Fantastic Four sequel, maybe 2029, it's gonna feel like homework. There's just a lot of characters to account for, and there's gonna be a lot of specific details in history that are specific to the 828 universe that people are gonna have to like recap, because that's a separate history from the Marvel universe.
I'm imagining the sequel is their own sequel where it doesn't incorporate anything from 616. So it seems like they would only have to do Doomsday, maybe Secret Wars, and then Fantastic Four. A little bit easier research. And I bet the stuff that's going to be in Secret Wars is going to be so minuscule to what's going to be happening in their universe. But I feel like, again, when 2029 comes, what the fuck are you going to do to Fantastic Four? And also, it would have been years. Like, that child is not the child anymore. I mean, I'm sure they're going to recast that baby.
Yeah. At that point, you got to get like a teenager. Yeah.
Unless they're just
14,
focusing.
15.
But even focusing on that wouldn't be the sequel, right? Focusing on the son.
The shape of the plot is really hard for us to see when our horizon is blotted out by Doomsday. We can't even really see Secret Wars at this point. So it's hard to imagine how you just go back to 828 universe. Like, I have to imagine whatever that universe that we spent time in this past summer's film is gotta be changed in some way by the time we come back to it. And I feel like that's the universe I want them to exist in, though. I don't need them to. I want the MCU's future to look mostly like that universe. I want Kazra Farahani to just be on retainer as a production designer of everything Marvel does from now on. Like, he should just be on the payroll as like, I will be the production designer. Let me shoot in some practical locations, but if you're gonna shoot on a soundstage, let me do it.
That seems like also a sequel seems still so expensive.
Yeah,
wouldn't it be very expensive still for them for Fantastic Four? Unless, I mean, I want them to stay in that universe. A way they can stay in that universe or go to different universes that aren't 616 is if they do bring in a Kang situation.
Yeah. So let's get to the Kang of it all. Jonathan Majors was asked at some red carpet event if he will return as Kang in the future of the MCU. And he said, quote, "I cannot say anything about that. It's a multiverse, so there's always that. Make of that what you will." I think Jonathan Majors has not gone the Beau DeMayo route of just like lambasting his former employer. It seems like he's tried to play nice in a lot of these responses when people ever ask him if he'll ever come back, just in hopes that maybe there's a way forward. I don't know. We're not going to talk about that end of it, but we will say, like, he even acknowledged it's a multiverse. Do you think Marvel Studios could ever recast Kang the Conqueror?
Yeah. Well, that's what I think, and we've talked about this. That's what they were, not recast, but they should have done different versions of Kang in the first goddamn place.
That Quantumania post-credit scene was one of the biggest mistakes, certainly the biggest mistake Marvel Studios made in the multiverse saga. To say that your big bad villain, a character who in the pages of the comics does have different appearances, is all played by this one actor, even if you had 100% confidence in that actor, which they clearly did. They should have had 100% confidence in anybody, including Robert Downey Jr. or Tom Holland. You got to be able to make a different decision. And the fact that they had thousands of them in an arena, like Pharaoh Ramatut, you could have had anybody play Pharaoh Ramatut. You could have had anybody play Immortus.
I wanted it to be just a bunch of different people. Because that was, once you see it, and it kind of sucks, once you see it in like Loki, and you see all the different variants of Loki that don't look like Loki, I was like, yeah, we're going to see variants of other people that just don't look like them. And then they all had Jonathan Majors face.
They even had,
they could switch it up. They could switch it up now. I think it would be just weird for them to do that, though. It'd be just weird to be like, oh, now all the Kangs look different.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you could have done this earlier. I think now they have to stick to that one Kang. If they do put another Kang in, I think they'll just have to stick to that one being the face of all of them again.
Well, that's why I say if this is in 2029, imagine we're on the other side of Doomsday and Secret Wars. New rules. Completely new rules. And they could even say, like, so there still is a semblance of a multiverse out there. There are villains like Kangs, but whenever people ask, like, well, wasn't it Jonathan Majors on the face of all Kangs? They could say that was earlier multiverse saga rules. We're not in that saga anymore. We're now in the mutant saga, or we're in whatever we want to call this saga. And they can just very easily use that to justify why Kang is now Coleman Domingo in some case, and then Stephen Yeun in
and then
another
Stephen-
case.
that'd be so
or whoever
fun.
else, Keanu Reeves in some cases.
And then you give me like the sneaky one, the smart one, this one, like
The fat one.
Yeah, it just
The
sits there,
jacked
the
one.
jacked one, and it's just different actors. I would eat that up. It's the same guy. It's the same guy, and oh my god, I love that. I would eat that up. Do you think the pessimist in me? Do you think it's harder for Marvel to explain that every single time than just saying we recast him?
They should be able to just say we recast him, right? That should be easy. But for whatever reason, Marvel Studios executives cannot just use that as an
I think once
excuse.
you say recast, it just becomes like too much. I
Right.
feel like, and this is in every nerd sphere. It's not just Marvel, like DC too. Once you hear the word recast, I don't know if I want to be the PR team.
But like, they shouldn't be afraid of it. Like, just say the word. Like, I think what they're worried about is if you say recast, it feels like a personal dig at the actor who used to play them. But like, it happened to Andrew Garfield, and everyone's still happy. You know?
I think it's because there's so many versions of Spider-Man that luckily we
Yeah.
got so accustomed to that so quick. It was like, okay, everyone gets like 3, and then we get a new one.
Yeah.
And then we get a new one, except for Tom Holland. He gets 4.
But based off of the box office performance of Quantumania, I guarantee you, whatever movie they make coming, I mean, more people will have seen Doomsday and will remember Doomsday.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's hard to think 4 years from now, but I guarantee you, in 2029, I don't know if people will even remember or think about Quantumania.
No,
They'll think about what happened in Doomsday and how Franklin Richards reset everything. Maybe that's part of the new Mask Same Task protocol of having Robert Downey Jr. do this, is like, we're introducing the idea that actors can come back in different ways. We can recast characters. We can recast actors as different characters. Let go of actor equals character.
I like that.
You know?
I like that idea. And I like it going from him to Kang. Like, I think that's a good example of like, we can recast Kang. I think it's not hard to recast Kang because we only got him like twice, and it was in Loki and Quantumania, but we already were introduced to him as like multiple variants. Mm-hmm. So it's okay to be like, oh, he's just going to be teed up as multiple people at one point. Mm-hmm. And since Quantumania did kind of come out at a low number, I think it's fine. I think it was hard. The bigger like recast in Marvel was clearly like T'Challa, Black Panther, and that was a lot of levels to like recasting the character that like, not only was he the character, but he also creatively helped build that character in the script with Ryan Coogler. So they were like, no, we just don't want to do that to our guy. And then on top of that, he was Black Panther. Like, he was the king of Wakanda. He was in Civil War. He was in everything. We can recast Kang.
Yeah, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if in Avengers Secret Wars they do recast T'Challa. We're going to see, I mean, there's the concept art that we've seen of Damson Idris's likeness, and I don't know if it's going to be him, but I think we're going to see an alternate universe Wakanda with an alternate universe T'Challa. But you do even see things like Marvel Zombies where they're afraid to even bring in another actor to voice T'Challa in Marvel Zombies. And I just thought that was so weird to have Hudson Thames say T'Challa's final words. He said Wakanda forever, and I knew he was really emotional in that moment.
So Hudson Thames he's the one that, okay.
Yeah, because he voices that animated version of Peter Parker, and he did it in What If, and then he came back for Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Yeah,
that makes sense.
I just wish that they brought in another actor just to say that in that moment. He's masked in that moment. But whatever.
Have we not?
I think the reason they did it is because when we heard Chadwick's voice in What If, season 1, episode 5, his voice did sound a bit different. And it was emotional to even hear his voice in What If. And I think part of it is they didn't want to bring in an actor to replicate where Chadwick was at in his health at that moment when he recorded it.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I forgive them for that. So, but I do think once we see a new T'Challa in Secret Wars, I think this will all get a lot easier for Marvel.
I think we'll see a new T'Challa. I don't know if he's going to stay in the 616.
I hope he does. I hope we get a new reformed 616 with all these characters together, including a new T'Challa, including a new Tony Stark, including a new Natasha Romanoff. I want all the dead characters back. I want to be able to see Tony Stark meeting and hanging out with the X-Men. I want like a real
the Avengers back.
Yeah, I want a proper 616.
I can't wait for Hawkeye and Scarlet Witch.
All of them.
And Black Widow.
Maria Hill. Maria Hill back on the call
Maria
sheet.
Hill needs to come back. Every other person that's dead, I think, needs to stay dead. And that's mainly because I would be like, Black Widow died for nothing? I'd be like, no, when she died in that scene, it was so emotional. And all of Florence Pugh's character was based on that death. To just bring her back, I'd be like, oh, so we didn't even need her to be sad.
But if you have
bring
a
the sister
different
back.
actor playing Natasha Romanoff.
Oh, yeah, a different actor.
Yeah, I don't think you bring
No.
back Scarlett.
I thought you were talking about bring back these exact people.
Yeah.
No, you can't recast Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner wants to come back.
Well, in that case, yes. But like Tony Stark, I don't think Downey should ever play that universe's Tony Stark ever again. That sacrifice should never be undone. But bringing a new actor to play Tony Stark in the new 616, and you could still have Downey come back and play a superior Iron Man.
I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're so scared of that to have a new Iron Man.
I think in 2029 they won't be.
I think when I'm like 55, they will definitely recast everything, and everything will start over again. We will get a new Scarlet Witch from the bottom up, and it will be some child that's born today.
I think sooner than that. I really do think in the 2030s that will be the Marvel universe that we're watching.
I think late 2030s I could see it because I will be 50.
I don't know how old it is.
Look. I think I'm 50. That would be so great. That the fandom will be.
Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of Sneak Peek. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and this year we'd like to say thank you to the therapists, like the ones who work with BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists have helped over 5 million people worldwide on their mental health journeys. That's millions of hours of listening, caring, and helping. Therapists see us at our most vulnerable and step up to help us take steps forward. Moments in therapy like the right question, a safe space to cry, or a small win, those can change lives. This World Mental Health Day, BetterHelp is honoring those connections and the therapists who make them possible while showing how easy it is to get guidance from a licensed therapist online with BetterHelp. BetterHelp therapists work according to a strict code of conduct and are fully licensed in the United States. Finding the right therapist for you is so important, which is why BetterHelp has a short questionnaire to identify your needs and preferences to find the right therapist for you. If you aren't happy with your match for whatever reason, you can switch to a different therapist at any time from their tailored recommendations. With over 30,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally. And it works with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. This World Mental Health Day, we're celebrating the therapists who have helped millions of people take a step forward. If you're ready to find the right therapist for you, BetterHelp can help you start that journey. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/newrockstarspod. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/newrockstarspod. But if we can assume that there is a path, therefore, for Kang in a Fantastic Four sequel, let's kind of like pitch this out. Like, what if okay, so we're after Secret Wars. We don't know what universe we're in, but maybe we call it 616. Maybe it has some vestiges of the 828 universe. But either way, that home base setting is not where most of a Fantastic Four sequel could take place.
Yeah, 100%.
We talked last week about the possibility of a story that explores the lineage of just someone, like even the first movie dealt with Reed and Sue's fear of their progeny being a monster. Just the fact that both of them got cosmic radiation, who knows what they have. That was their fear in the opening scene. Galactus confirms that fear by saying, your son is the successor to my power cosmic. He's the heir to my hunger. And that scared the shit out of them, to where like later in that movie, Reed had to have this sweet heart-to-heart with his baby saying like, you know what, when I see you, I don't necessarily see my fears. I see my potential. I loved that scene as a father. This could explore that further. So just the family, the Fantastic Four family's existence in a universe could, 30 generations down the line into the future, result in a villain like Nathaniel Richards who becomes Kang the Conqueror. What a cool idea. Then you could go back to ancient Egypt and make it the Pharaoh Rama-Tut. You could make it just the Nathaniel Richards, and you could have anybody play him. Yeah. And then it's a story about the Future Foundation. It's a story about like a mother, father, son, and their uncles trying to figure out like what it's almost like Back to the Future Part 2, right? Where you're worried about your descendants and what they're going to do with your family legacy.
So we would start with them already time traveling enough to go see what Nathaniel Richards is doing.
Or maybe it's like we could explore what the multiverse saga would have looked like under Kang's threat. Because I think with the scripts that Jeff Loveness and Mike Waldron were playing with coming out of Loki, I think they really wanted to do kind of that vibe that Quantumania ended with, where Scott Lang is like, did we win? Like, you're this fear that your reality is being warped around you, and you're like, holy shit, someone's in the past fucking with the timelines.
Would we completely disregard and retcon what Kang was in Loki season 1 and what he said?
I think so.
Damn. I think you can still add it, but I think
the
you're right.
logic may stay true, but like the personality that Jonathan Majors brought to Victor Timely in He Who Remains, I think has to be
that has to be wiped.
It can be folded in. It can say like, in a past era of history, I took a different form. Now, after what you did, young Franklin Richards in Battleworld, now your descendant looks like me. And I think easy enough logic.
Would it be too close to what Quantumania was already trying to do if it is a Nathaniel Richards that's looking, like when he described all the versions of him opening a portal and looking through it to find each other, would that be too close to what Quantumania was ending and how they all were just like, yeah, we are all trying to conquer something?
You would have to let go of the conqueror angle. You'd have to let go of the arena. You couldn't try to do that splash page from whatever that was, like an Avengers comic from 1989 or something like that they did for the Quantumania mid-credit scene. I think you got to let go of the thousands of Kangs, and instead maybe you do just have a small number of them, but I don't know if you could call it the Kang Dynasty. But maybe
I don't think he would be a big bad, unfortunately, anymore if he goes into this route. Though he was like, I think Kang would have been so much fun, but I think he's gonna be one of those Marvel villains that gets beat if he's in a sequel to Fantastic Four.
You couldn't make him the big bad. You'd have to make him a specific villain to the Fantastic Four family.
I also think because of just marketing, they were like, we already had Kang's Dynasty. We don't want to go back.
Well, here's the question. Would they call him Kang?
Mm-hmm.
Would you just call him Nathaniel Richards?
Yeah.
And would they use the word dynasty? Could you say we're on the other side of $2 billion Avengers movies? Really, we're thinking about an X-Men movie at that point in 2028, 2029. But then Marvel announces, we're bringing back the Fantastic Four and we're calling it Fantastic Four Family Dynasty. Yeah. Or we're talking about...
I think you can call it Family Dynasty. I think, which is probably, this is the most, I don't think this is true at all. Take with a grain of salt.
Fantastic Four, Dynasty.
Dynasty. That's my stripper name. No, I wonder if there is that, legal part with the name Kang's Dynasty, if there's anything there where they're like, oh well, we'd have to bring these people back on to finish this or rewrite this or do something. They might change the title just because of what they already had. And maybe it was like, if someone owned the title, if one of the writers came up with it and he's like, check please, also are you going to use this plot point that I made in it? But that's the shitty thing. If I'm getting Kang, I want Kang. I want Kang. I feel like if you give me Nathaniel Richards, I'm going to get a third movie that's Kang.
Could you call it Fantastic Four Bloodline? You call it Fantastic Four...
We're also assuming that, I assume...
Deadly Descendant or something.
Deadly Descendant. I also assume the baby is going to be back with them, but we also don't know.
Well, that's why I'm saying, you can't just do... I mean, maybe what they set up with Latveria is another Fantastic Four Doom story. But what's hard is they're going to be facing Downey's Doom in Doomsday. So I don't know how you do a sequel where it's just a different Doom from the 828 universe. It feels like it's going to be too weird to do it then. So having Kang be the villain of the second movie sets you up for a Fantastic Four 2033 movie where you could have a different version of Victor Von Doom come back for that. Yeah. So Kang feels good as a second movie. If you think of it as a trilogy, you could have just a Nathaniel Richards Kang. He's kind of one and done a little bit, but maybe he's still out there somewhere by the end of the movie. You don't even have to call him Kang. You could just call him Nathaniel Richards and then Ramatut or Immortus. You could even call him Immortus. There's a few different ways you could spin this guy.
I'm completely interested in Kang being the thing that shows up in the sequel. I think that's also and please, tell me another character, but I think Kang would be the best for the Fantastic Four. Yeah. Especially since, wasn't it Kang that made that machine that did he steal the time traveling machine that took them to Egypt? There was a machine that
Sphinx, right?
Was it the Sphinx?
The Sphinx is his time travel ship.
And that's why I'm just put him with the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Just put him with the Fantastic Four. Bring him back. No one's going to
And the fact that Fantastic Four First Steps already established that they fought villains like Mole Man, the Mad Thinker, the Puppet Master, these other kind of losers. You can't make any of them the villain of the second movie. You could make villains, you could have Galactus come back. You could have an alternate version of Silver Surfer. You could have Norrin Rad.
And also that's true. We could still blow out that world a little bit.
There could be a Thanos who exists in the universe of the Fantastic Four. You could kind of replay a separate redo of the Infinity Saga. You could have other kind of X-Men or other Marvel heroes who exist. You could have a different version of Thor, like a Beta Ray Bill shows up in this universe and they have to deal with that. You could have a Nihilist show up. There's all kinds of weird cosmic Marvel threats that could show up. You could do a team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy of another universe, or where you have like, I don't know, all kinds of just weirdos who are on that version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. You have Kruger leading it with a different version of Yondu. You could get real silly with it.
I think you can get silly with it. I think they wanted to stay as grounded in their own world without it like being all over the place with other people and other characters for the first movie, but for the second movie, you got to do it. I want to see the other people in that universe. I know they're in there. I know they're in there. Even if they're just sitting on the ground doing nothing. Like, I know they're in there.
Imagine we had a Fantastic Four. So we're in the 1970s at this point. Yes, we're 5 years or so later. So imagine you're in the 1970s, maybe going into the 1980s of the Fantastic Four in the 828 universe. Again, we're after Doomsday and Secret Wars. We're in the year 2029 now. Is it that crazy to say that a different actor playing Tony Stark becomes a rival to Reed Richards, and we have Stark Tech versus Reed Tech in that movie, and it's a battle between Reed Richards and this new kind of asshole running like a warmongering defense contracting firm, and that's how we get a new Tony Stark.
Oh, we get
in the MCU.
Yes. Okay. I was thinking when you said MCU, I thought you meant 616. I was like, I don't think that's going to be the same Tony Stark.
Like there's someone who's working for the Future Foundation or for Reed Tech who's like his intern, and that intern's name is Tony Stark. And you get like a 20-something-year-old actor who's just kind of like, kind of a prick, but he's real smart. He's a ladies' man. Reed Richards is trying to mentor him, and that guy's just like annoying to work with, but he builds kind of his own Iron Man suit and kind of runs amok. The Fantastic Four to deal with his celebrity status versus their own mentoring celebrity status. I don't know. I'm just trying to spitball other sequels that like Marvel Studios could be like, oh, if we get a new Iron Man in a Fantastic Four movie, that's $1 billion movie right there.
There you go.
I don't know.
I think that's a fun one. I don't think he'd ever get on that suit. I think this is like the asshole rich one that just never changed, which I guess we kind of got in What If, but it would be like more of an asshole.
Yeah,
more
imagine
of like the money. We would be the superior Iron Man, right? Like not even the red suit. It'd be kind of like a purple suit that maybe he learns some lessons and gets a red suit at some point. But like, yeah, you could cast an Austin Butler in that. You could get a Chalamet in there. You could get any of these young upstarts who are going to be in Michael Mann's Heat. I wonder
too. You could get them in the suit.
I wonder if they think. And I hate to keep bringing it back to homework. I wonder if they think it's so hard to explain this when it's not. But I also am like, we're grown adults that watch these movies, so we understand it immediately. I wonder if other people that don't watch the movies or children are going to be like, well, where's so-and-so? And I'm like, is it hard? Is it hard to explain that? I don't know.
It's hard, but if you can imagine that we're in a different time period as well. Like imagine we're in the 1970s. Of that universe, it's a bit easier for people to imagine like, oh, well, this is a completely different world because it's in the 70s.
Yeah, that's why I have to like explain to people, my friends that don't watch this. And then they go, but it's a different universe. And I go, yes, it's a different universe. That's why it's Austin Butler and not Robert Downey Jr., Tony Stark. Okay, why didn't they just have Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. play him? Okay, that's not how this works.
He's Dr. Doom now.
Yeah, he's Dr. Doom now.
Like, how is he Dr. Doom?
Those are the questions I get. And that's where I'm like...
Can you record your questions with your friends or bring your friends on the show?
What was the last time I talked to them? They were like, who's the green one? And I was like...
Which green one?
First off, 100%. Thank you. Because I was like, are you talking about She-Hulk? Are you talking about Hulk? Are you talking about any of the Hulks?
Loki.
And then they were talking about... Zoe Saldana's character.
Oh, wow. That would have been like fourth on my list too.
I literally, and Loki is a good one too. I literally went through every green thing that's front center, not the person that I've only seen in 3 movies.
That's awesome.
That's how they'll be like, what is her name again? The green one.
So I think of the options we've discussed, like if you just need a villain rather than like a frenemy, it depends on what you want the plot to be. I think based off of the first movie being called First Steps, the family dynamic was like the real heart of that movie. And I would personally, maybe I'm just a softy dad, I want to see that get explored thematically in the second one. The celebrity status did not really get explored that much in Fantastic Four First Steps. That was in the Act 1, but then a lot of the other scenes in the film were just in quiet rooms in the home. They went to space. Yes, the public did turn on them, but didn't it feel like that was like less of a conflict than other movies we've seen recently about how fame and celebrity status affects superheroes, including The Boys. Like, public opinion matters far more to Gen V in The Boys than it did in Fantastic Four First Steps.
That universe is easily persuaded.
Spider-Man No Way Home, very much about like Peter Parker's relationship with the media, and J. Jonah Jameson was a major villain in that. So
I think they just wanted. I don't think they wanted to go into it too much, which I guess I understand. I'm more here for Galactus.
Yeah.
This is a whimsy world, but in the next movie, I kind of wanted to address.
So they could. It's just like, I think it's more interesting with what they set up with this. Again, Fantastic Four First Steps only made $530 million or so. However, I still really liked it, and I think it's enough of a success that they shouldn't scrap whatever was there. They should build on what Matt Shakman and those writers created.
And also, respectfully, Marvel gives a lot of origin movies like a second movie. I'm saying a team-up origin movie. I'm not saying the Marvels. I'm not saying Thunderbolts, but like when it is our first family, they usually are good. Or first family or first whoever, they usually give them a second.
Yeah.
And I say, again, not team-ups. Not Eternals, not the Marvels, and probably not Thunderbolts.
Yeah. So dealing with their descendants is just the reason why that's my default pitch is like, you got to have a reason for both Franklin and Valeria to be there. And if both of them, I mean, maybe that could be a conflict of like, whose bloodline leads to Nathaniel Richards? Is it Valeria's kids or is it Franklin's kids? Because which teenager or preteen feels greater guilt over going to be marrying someone in the future and having kids and great grandkids who are this?
Respectfully, do I want this more with Fantastic Four or do I want this more with Cyclops?
Cable and Madeline Pryor.
Do I want the Summers or do I want the...
Ooh. I mean, I think that's like a future Fantastic Four X-Men team up. Like,
make the kids fight.
Make the kids fight.
Make the kids fight, dude.
Whenever we get to a Mutant Academy, Franklin and Valeria should be there.
Yeah, I 100%.
And then they should have that. Like, Scott Summers and Jean Grey or Madeline Pryor should have a conversation with them. Like, Cable and Kang should compare notes at some point in a future Marvel title.
Oh yeah, they're
both of them being
like, so
weirdos from the future who
I'm not bad like you. I kind of had to learn to be good and I lost a lot of body parts.
Yeah.
You just kind of became an asshole of a person.
Maybe in the future we get to see Cable in the MCU as the Kang Hunter. Like his modus operandi is trying to find every Kang that exists. So and then so it leads to this conflict between Cyclops and Reed Richards. Like, why is your great-great-great-grandson trying to kill my great-great-great-grandson? And he's like, well, because your great-great-great-grandson is a prick and my great-great-grandson just has a bionic eye and he can't help it. He's a little screwy because the woman I made him with was not Jean Grey. It was a Goblin Queen.
I don't want to get into it.
It's very complicated.
I kind of cheated, but
I didn't know I was cheating.
She looks exactly the same.
She didn't know she was cheating. It was freaking...
But let me
Sinister was playing around with us.
When Jean showed up, she was pissed.
Oh, right. I'm still in the doghouse for that.
I'm still in the doghouse for that.
Fantastic Four doghouse.
Oh my God. I just want to see those kids.
Coming
I want to see
theaters.
every too powerful child. Bring them into the universe right now.
Get us in the writer's room, Feige. You know some of this would work.
He's not going to put us in there because he knows we're going to write it down and then immediately send it to each other.
We will put it on YouTube.
I'll have the camera up in the room. I'll be going live right here.
Streaming it.
So wait, what's that sticky note again?
Who's that a picture of? What?
Oh my
God.
Mephisto.
He's already there. All right. So coming up this week on New Rockstars, yes, it is New York Comic Con this past weekend. Marvel Studios had their panel yesterday just for their Disney Plus shows. And we'll be covering all of that news in the days ahead. Also, you may have seen a trailer for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. If that video isn't already on the channel, we'll be covering that in some way or form in the future as well. Please subscribe to the Witching Hour channel, our horror channel in this network. So Gina's video about A Nightmare on Elm Street is live on the channel. A great video, as is Jessica's video about Jennifer's Body. And this coming Wednesday, you'll be able to see my video essay about Longlegs, the Oz Perkins 2024 movie. Crazy film. And then we're in the midst of our Predator rewatch series as well. Our breakdown of Predator 2, starring Danny Glover, currently on the channel. If you are a member at the Rewatcher tier or higher, you'll be able to get that a day early. All of these Predator videos a day early and ad-free. So that's just like a fun thing if you want to support us that way. We added, though, a new chapter to this Rewatch series because we love doing this. So originally, we're going to move right on to 2022's Prey. We're going to add one here. 2010's Predators, starring Adrian Brody, Mahershala Ali. It's an amazing entry of the Predator canon, so we decided we had to cover it. So that video is actually going to be coming first. It's going to be coming this Friday. And then Jessica's breakdown of Gen V episode 7 will be on the New Rockstars channel this Wednesday. So a lot for you to watch and listen to. The Break Room's going to be covering a lot of this stuff as well. Tomorrow we'll have a live stream on the Break Room. I might be forgetting something. Our breakdown of the finale of Peacemaker came out to the channel yesterday. A lot to do. I can't announce that yet. Something fun may be in the works. Peacemaker related to the New Rockstars channel. I'll just tease that. Let's end this episode with what we're watching.
I don't think I'm watching anything. I was just trying to think about it. The only new thing that's a series I tried to watch, and I didn't really want to watch this. I will say that first. I didn't really want to watch it. I was just like, let me go see how he's doing. Charlie Hunnam and the Ed Gein monster story. I don't like it. I think it's not good. I also I have my next witching hour video is on Candyman, and I get into like Hollywood horror, but Hollywood horror in the terms of like why violence has to be the root of the fear, if that makes sense. Like, why can't it just be like a normal, like, this woman got hit by a car. Instead, it's like, this woman got abducted, thrown into a lake, pulled out of the lake, assaulted, and then hit by a car. I'm like, why do we have to make it so violent in order to actually fear it? Are we that desensitized? And that's how I feel about all these monster Ryan Murphy movies, series. I'm like, he's adding things to it and only highlighting the parts he wants to highlight that are just over sexual and doing a lot of weird shit. And I'm like, I don't think he gets the plot. I was like, I don't think he knows what Ed Gein's a monster. Like, what are we doing here? Also, this is just a weird take. Stop making pretty people those people. Like Charlie Hunnam playing Ed Gein was weird.
Evan Peters playing.
Evan Peters.
Yeah.
Like every single time. And that's where it's like Hollywood horror. And I think weirdly, psychologically, I think there's people on the internet that see Charlie Hunnam playing this character and they're like, ooh, I like a dark, like this is a smut book, like a whatever book. And I'm like, no. This is Ed Gein. It's not Charlie Hunnam.
Well, and we're seeing so much in media sympathy for the monster.
Yeah.
And that's a big theme that James Gunn is exploring. And I think with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, it's okay to have sympathy for the monster, but we have to, it's almost like a problematic term calling these people monsters. I think to say they're a monster implies that it's not fully in their control what they do. But it's, we got a nice little menu.
No, they're learning the background. They're learning the secrets.
It's more complicated than that. They're deeply broken people. I hesitate to use the term evil because then we get into some other connotations there. But sure, if you want to consider them evil, I'm not going to say no to that. I'm not gonna say no. But it's just like to say they're a monster. It's like, I'm not a monster. I'm a mother. Yeah, it's like all this kind of stuff. Like nowadays, everything just gets nuanced in a way that makes me afraid to even call this series monster because it's worse than that.
Yeah, it's way worse than that. I feel like I got tricked with Ryan Murphy and like American Horror Story because it was deep violence that I was like obsessed with for a minute. But then I was like, we're just giving him leeway to just keep making these. Yeah. He's going to make a Ted Bundy one. He's going to make a John Wayne Gacy one or something.
Because the views are great.
They're great for Netflix, dude. They're great for Netflix. And I'm like, I just don't want to. I don't want and I'm glad people are starting to notice it with this one especially. They're like, this is not good. It's not even like the way that I don't know. They just used Hollywood in a weird fucking light.
Yeah.
What are you watching?
Specifically going from Dahmer to Gein. It's like, okay, you're really going for the most graphic, disgusting one, the cannibals. Like, why are we going in that direction? If they were to go to Ted Bundy, I could at least understand how you were exploring social dynamics and how he had a type.
But again, they probably won't highlight that.
They
Ryan
won't.
Murphy
They'll really
highlights
make it.
The parts that
they'll focus
sells.
on how handsome he is, and it's going to be Patrick Schwarzenegger playing him, right? Yeah. Unless it was announced. I don't know if it was announced.
It would be if it. I don't know if they're making one, but if they did, it would probably be him.
Probably. What I'm watching. I was invited to the Tron Ares premiere this week. I was a little overwhelmed when I went because I missed the memo that we're supposed to wear red, and I don't own anything red. I only have black clothes. I had a blue jacket and I felt like I was really out of place. But a wild event. I saw Jeff Bridges and I screamed, "With a box of scraps!"
Did you?
I did. He didn't.
Why would you do that?
Because that's like my favorite thing he's done.
It's our favorite thing. He's tired of people fucking screaming at him like
no one screams that at him.
I'm sure so. Oh my god, I'm sure nerds do.
They go, the dude abides.
Yeah, the cool ones, the weirdos are us screaming, a box of scraps. No, I guarantee there are a group of nerds yelling that.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps.
There is, I guarantee, because I know there is. There's a group of us.
Yeah, Tron Ares is wild. I don't like these statements that people are making, like it demands to be seen in IMAX. Watch it in a Dolby. I'm like, sure, if you prefer that, but any movie should be able to watch in any format. And I think a good example of that is what Ryan Coogler did with Sinners. He said if you just want to watch it at your local cinema, it will look like this, and it's also great. And I have seen things like Oppenheimer and Sinners. You could watch Oppenheimer on the back of a airplane seat and it's still a good experience.
You're naming two very, very good movies where the director put their foot in like the making sure it got distributed really well.
Well, and I would say if you're going to make a movie like that is in limited formats, you should make sure that the content is good enough to justify that higher ticket price.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
The jury's out for me on Tron Ares. It's only because like I have a complicated relationship with the Tron franchise. I think it's weird that this is a franchise. I thought it was like an anomalistic 1982 film that Disney just brought back for whatever reason in 2010. I think it's Joseph Kosinski's one of his lesser works, considering he went on to do Top Gun Maverick and F1. And I just think this movie Tron Ares is to the Tron franchise that the movies this director did for the Pirates franchise and for the Maleficent franchise was to those franchises. Simulacra of Simulacra, if you read Jean Baudrillard. It is just like, what are we even referencing? A lot of the critiques of Tron Ares are like, it leans too much on nostalgia. But I'm like, nostalgia for what? How many people out there have that much nostalgia for this 1982 film?
My grandfather.
Some people do, but it's kind of like when I watch Ready Player One, it's like, really, like we're reference, like people have The Shining in their hearts in that particular way to want to spend so much time as a set piece in it for Ready Player One. Like people are weeping seeing Iron Giant fight in the background. I loved Brad Bird's Iron Giant. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like so weird the way nostalgia is just being taken for granted and like assumed as a given. And it's like, I just don't buy that people have that same kind of nostalgic heart pull for Tron the way that we did when we went into Force Awakens.
No, but I think Tron is just like flash.
Yeah.
Flash. And I bet like as a child, as a young child, I'd been like, ooh, like it's just all in your face. And I think I remember seeing them when I was a child, like when I was in middle school, and I was like, these are just fun. But revisiting them, I was like, I don't know who this is really for. Like I was like, I'm confused at it because I don't know Tron other than the movies. I'm like, what the hell? Why would I know Tron? I think that was just a weird franchise, but if it makes money, I guess that's why they brought it back, clearly.
I think it will do very well overseas. It's a kind of movie that like will do gangbusters in foreign markets. I know it will. Okay. So that's why Jared Leto still has a career. He's just weirdly someone who like overseas audiences are like, yeah, sure, him. It is like as having seen it, I think it was just where I was sitting in the theater. I was too close to the screen. And I think like I saw Oppenheimer in the first row on the far side, like looking up at it, and I still loved it. I was still floored by it. This movie, I think you have to make sure you get a good seat that is centered, and you got to make sure it's good sound, because also the theater I was in, the bass was not adjusted, so I could not hear Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's instrumentation on top of the bass line. And so it was borderline like, I might need to walk out and then just come back to another screening.
I would lose my mind. I also think what you said earlier is very valid of like, if you're going to make this movie, you got to make it accessible if you're going to make it in this degree and expect people to go see it in Dolby or IMAX, you better make it great. Yeah. Like that's insane. Like I don't want to be able to go to the AMC Town Center 6, go to the tiniest theater that has like 12 seats and be like, I'm hearing I'm hearing everything that I shouldn't be hearing right now. Like, why is the speakers not playing this right? Like, I don't, That's ridiculous. That's an insane thing. I don't know.
I think it's also an insane take to say, like, the visuals were beautiful, the score was great, the characters and story were lacking for me. I'm like, the characters and the story are the movie. You can't treat them as just other conditional variables that if they're lacking, the rest of the movie's worth your ticket price. Like, the visuals, the visual effects, the score, the editing, whatever, it all has to serve character. Yeah. It all has to serve plot. And like, you know, you can say what you will about the Avatar franchise. When you're watching those movies, you're in on the story.
I love it.
Like Jake Sully, I don't think about him for most of the years of my life, but as soon as I sit down for James Cameron's Avatar sequels, I'm like, my heart is just beating for his family and his loved ones, and every visual effect or practical effect that James Gunn comes up with for those movies serves that heart string that runs throughout the movie. And you can't just say like the characters were underdeveloped and vapid, but I still liked it. It's like, are we just going to our local museum and watching like a Pink Floyd cover of some laser shows on a ceiling? Like, that's not what a movie is. A movie is a story. Yeah. And so I just don't buy that that's okay. That's a valid take on a movie. You're not really describing a movie anymore. You're just describing like a trailer.
I feel that. I feel that. I also can see some people being afraid of not being invited to Disney things again.
I know, and I've done it. I know.
No,
you're going to find some tweet where I've done this.
We're talking about
I'm not
right
calling
now.
anyone out in particular. I get the game.
No, I get the game, but also if you don't do it if you don't have to. Like, we don't have to. Like, we talk about it, and we're talking about it right now. We're like, no. I heard it wasn't the greatest from the three people.
And you can look at Rotten Tomatoes, but I will say it's consistent with the other two Tron movies.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
So if you like those two, you'll like this one.
That's true. I should say if you're going in there expecting that, then you're probably going to be fine. Yeah. You're going to be fine.
And hey, we want movie theaters to do well. I don't ever want to be the reason people doesn't spend their time going to see a movie, because I bet if you do go see it, and if you just sit in the middle, back 3 rows, you'll probably enjoy it more than I did.
Go pay for Good Boy. That movie's an hour and 13 minutes.
Go watch One Battle After Another.
Oh yeah, go watch it again, please. Yeah. Go see it again.
And if you do, they'll have a better chance bringing it back, because right now Tron Ares is taking over all the IMAX screens, and it sucks.
I'm doing a double feature tomorrow night of Good Boy and One Battle After Another. Every theater is taken by Tron Ares. Every single theater. It makes sense though. It's opening night. It's Thursday night, and no one's going there for.
It's also Disney.
Yeah,
Disney does that. You can listen to Matt Bellany, and he'll go into the history of why like theater chains. Disney does this more than other studios. They say if you want our movie at all, you have to give all your theaters to our movie.
And I think one thing, and I love him for this, I think one thing that made people start noticing that was when they had to take out Sinners for Thunderbolts.
Or Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh yeah, they had to take out Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Tarantino was pissed because he had it playing in the dome on 70 millimeter, and then what was it? Was it Force Awakens? Force Awakens bounced it or something.
Was it Force Awakens?
It was some Disney release.
Endgame came out afterwards.
Yeah, it was either like it was winter of 2014 or might have been winter of 2015, so it would have been whatever the Disney release was.
Okay, that's crazy, dude. They're crazy for that. Those are crazy. Those are like 2 movies that you're like, I gotta see this, and then you're like, well, you can see Happy Feet.
Well, it's the thing. Like, nothing against Force Awakens. I love that movie, but like, it can show on plenty of other theaters around LA. It doesn't need all of the ArcLights theaters.
Yeah. Oh my God. And that's insane, dude. Especially if the movie's running well, everyone's seeing it, they're trying to see it, and then all of a sudden it just gets bumped out. If we're fighting for tickets because it's getting bumped out tomorrow.
Well, and I think I understand that we're in a capitalist economy and that these movie studios do see each other as rivals, but I think right now that zero-sum game mindset does not apply to the battles we're fighting just to keep cinema theaters open. Like, you have to look at it as a rising tide. The way Tom Cruise will like show his tickets and he'll go see other movies made by other people. Like, as an industry, especially movie studios, we have to like lift each other up right now, because like right now we're fighting streaming, staying at home and streaming. And if you want to compete with Netflix, great, but don't compete. If you're Disney, don't compete with Warner Brothers.
Disney don't give a fuck. Disney's like, I'm going to compete with
everybody. They're like, what the fuck are you talking about, YouTuber?
They said, I don't care. I'm going in there and I'm pulling those people out.
Bob Iger or whoever at Disney's just watching this video, and they're like, all right, demonetize this video, this video, this video.
And that's all they have
to
do. They got to be like, hey, can you actually go hit up Karen over there at Google and tell her to pull that channel down?
I also watched Survivor this week. We are covering it on New Rockstars. It is a lot of people are shitting on the cast this season of 49. They say it's like just a preview season for season 50. I'm trying to avoid spoilers for season 50, but I am enjoying Riz God. I am enjoying the edit and I'm learning a lot about Edgic, which is an analysis of the editing that they do on Survivor. I'm learning a lot about it.
Is it in a good light or bad light?
It's usually a pretty critical light, and they do it to say, like, okay, well, knowing what we know about who might be coming back for a future season, what are they doing to try to paint a picture? And I'm also currently watching season 45, and there is a character who I think is going to make it to the final 3 without knowing anything, who, like, in the first week said some problematic stuff, and then they included like a redemption arc for her where it's just like, oh, she's learned a lot of lessons, and I'm like, did they just have to do that because we have to live with this person for several weeks? And I think they did. I really do think they did that. So but we did, John and Abby and I talked about Edgic and other things, specifically this week on Survivor 49 episode 3. There is a big medical situation, a big crazy thing happened this week, and we talked about it on in our underground, the Rockstars Have Spoken audio show that you can subscribe to if you're interested. Here's a little preview of our conversation on this week's episode. Can I share my conspiracy theory with you guys?
I would love nothing more.
I doubt that the snake bite happened. And I doubt that the snake bite was serious. These animals, as Jeff pointed out, do not swim up to humans and bite them. So, like, what did Jake do? I know I'm blaming the victim here, but what did Jake do to piss off this black-banded sea crate?
I was very surprised that there's no helicopter or something like that to take contestants in a situation like this from. They said it took 45 minutes to get from the beach to base camp.
Whoa.
In a snake bite situation, that feels like, I'm not a medical expert. I don't know anything really about snake bites. That felt to me like a very long time. I would have expected the Survivor team to have, better options.
I think that he is a bro. And I think that bros love to know that they can like conquer things. So my tinfoil hat theory is that he was trying to fight the snake.
I love
and that he's dumb enough to like be like, I can take it. And like
he's been losing and losing and losing and he needed a win.
Yeah. And he's like, or he was like, I can he's imagining bringing the snake back for food. And he's never read the handbook.
Yeah, don't touch that crate.
I like that. Food
yeah.
theory.
I like that too. It's kind of like men have this provider instinct. And yeah, especially if men's pride gets wounded that many times in a row, they start to lash out.
Yeah, and I don't think he was thinking about any of his loved ones.
Clearly not if he's already there. So again, if you want that, if you like that, hit the link in the description that will take you to our underground subscription service where if you want, you can opt in and get content like that. But if you're just there for Danger Room, Zach and Berg have a really interesting conversation coming out tomorrow morning that you're really going to want to hear as well, that you can access by just hitting that subscription. Jessica, thanks so much. This was great chatting with you about the future of the Fantastic Four franchise and whether Kang could come back.
Bring back Kang.
And if you want to see Kang, let us know who you would like to see play Kang in the future.
I like your already immediate pitch of Coleman Domingo.
Coleman works.
Yoon. I want variables, but if they only gave me one, give it to Coleman Domingo. It'd be
Keanu?
like Santin in. Oh, Keanu would be fun. Keanu, we'll talk after Good Fortune.
Piano keys. Well, Poot. Thank you to Brian Kim for producing and editing this episode. Thank you all for listening and watching. And be sure to subscribe to all the channels in the New Rockstars Network. Follow Jessica at Lulu_Clemons. Follow me at EA Voss. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.